They come when the world is quiet, when the veil thins and the walls between realms begin to whisper. You felt them, haven't you? Watching, just beyond the reach of light, silent observers in the temple of your dreams. There are moments in the dead of night when something stirs just beyond our senses, a subtle shift in the air, an unexplainable presence in the room, or a weight pressing gently on the edge of our awareness. These moments aren't just tricks of the mind, or the residue of dreams. They are invitations, markers of a hidden reality. Throughout history, mystics, shamans, and sages have spoken in hushed tones of the sleep watchers. Not spirits in the conventional sense, nor demons lurking in shadow, but entities whose role is far more enigmatic. They do not haunt. They observe. They do not speak, yet they are heard. They appear most often between midnight and 4 a.m., a period some esoteric traditions refer to as the hour of the wolf, others as the gate of stillness. This is the time when our defenses are down, the noise of the world fades, and consciousness begins to untether from the body. But who, or what, are they? Why do they appear when we are at our most vulnerable, suspended in sleep or just waking in a haze? Are they guardians, or judges? Watchers, or wardens? Are they external beings, or manifestations of something buried deep within our own psyche? In this video, we will venture into a forgotten world of hidden texts, ancient doctrines, and dream lore. We will uncover the roots of the sleep watchers across cultures and epochs, from Babylonian incantations to Tibetan dream yoga, from Gnostic visions to 21st century sleep paralysis phenomena. We'll explore the theories, both spiritual and psychological, of why they come, what they want, and what it means when you begin to sense their presence. This is not just a story. It is a journey into the unseen. And if you've ever felt eyes on you in the stillness of night, you may already be closer to the truth than you realize. Let us begin. In the ancient world, the line between the waking and dreaming realms was not merely blurred, it was sacred. It was believed that in sleep, the soul traveled. And where the soul journeys, it must be observed. The term watcher is not new. It emerges prominently in the Book of Enoch, an apocryphal Judeo-Christian text dating back over 2 millennia. In it, the watchers are described as angels, sentinels of the celestial realm, who watched over humanity. But their role becomes morally ambiguous. Some defied divine order, descended to earth, and intermingled with mortals, giving rise to the Nephilim, giants and heroes of old. This act, said to disturb the cosmic balance, led to their fall. The narrative raises an important question: does observation alter the observer? While the Book of Enoch paints a dramatic portrait of the watchers, the motif appears across civilizations in subtler forms. In Mesopotamian mythology, the Apkallu were semi-divine sages said to guide humanity. They, too, watched, but with a more passive, instructive presence. Often depicted with eagle heads and wings, they were guardians of hidden wisdom, stationed at the gateways between dimensions, both literal and symbolic. Temples, dreams, and the unconscious were all considered doorways. The Tibetan Bon and Dzogchen traditions speak of yidams, deities or energies encountered in dream or meditation. While not called watchers, their behavior mirrors them, appearing at liminal times, reflecting our innermost energies, sometimes confronting us with fear, other times guiding us through transformation. In Tibetan dream yoga, it is said that dream beings may serve as messengers or tests, meant to awaken us, to provoke lucidity not just in dreams, but in life. In the Gnostic worldview, which thrived in the early centuries of the Common Era, the cosmos was layered like an onion. Each realm had its gatekeepers, archons, who watched not out of malice, but to maintain the illusion of separateness. They were metaphysical bureaucrats, designed to keep souls trapped in cycles of forgetfulness. One Gnostic text calls them the servants of the slumber, a term eerily reminiscent of our sleep watchers. Even in Islamic mysticism, Sufism, references to entities who monitor the soul during rest abound. They are said to be present when the nafs, ego, quiets down and the ruh, spirit, can ascend. Dreams in Sufism are not frivolous, they are messages, visions, and often judgments passed down through unseen intermediaries. And in the shadowy corridors of modern parapsychology, particularly in studies of sleep paralysis, thousands report nearly identical experiences: a presence in the room, a feeling of being watched, sometimes a humanoid figure at the foot of the bed. These are not fleeting sensations. They come with clarity, intensity, and a haunting consistency across cultures. What ties all these threads together? It is the persistent archetype of the silent observer who appears at night, when the ego sleeps and the soul stirs. Whether angelic, demonic, symbolic, or psychological, these figures remind us that even in our most private moments, something watches. And not necessarily to harm, but perhaps to witness. Some say the sleep watchers are guardians of karma. Others say they are reflections of ourselves, projected outward. But in every tradition, one thing remains: night is never empty. To understand the sleep watchers, we must first reframe the very nature of watching. In the physical world, observation seems passive, an act of looking, of taking in. But in esoteric thought, to observe is to influence. Just as the quantum physicist notes that the act of observation collapses a wave into a particle, the mystic knows that attention shapes reality. The sleep watchers, then, are not just looking at us. They are participating in a deeper unfolding. So what are they? They are archetypal presences that arise at the threshold between worlds. Not fully of this dimension, but not entirely elsewhere either. They reside in the borderlands, between sleep and wakefulness, matter and spirit, ego and essence. In this liminality, they serve a function akin to that of a psychic sentinel. Their role is to observe the soul when it is most exposed, when dreaming strips us of our masks, and we wander the inner corridors of our being. But don't imagine them merely as cloaked figures in the shadows. That is how the mind interprets them. In truth, their form is malleable. Some see them as humanoid shapes. Others sense them as a presence, a pressure, or even a vibration in the room. Their appearance is shaped by the observer's own psyche. Like dream symbols, they arise in the language the soul understands. Here is the first key truth: the sleep watchers are mirrors. They reflect back the parts of us we hide in daylight. They are the watchers of suppressed grief, unspoken fears, latent potentials, and forgotten selves. When they appear in the night, it is not to scare, but to signal. They arrive as invitations to deeper work. Carl Jung might have called them projections of the shadow, aspects of the self we exile into the unconscious. In this view, their watching is a confrontation. They appear when the conscious mind is defenseless, asking, "Will you look at what you've been avoiding?" In mystical traditions, there is a belief that in dream states, or the hypnagogic liminal phase, we pass into subtler dimensions. These realms, vibrating just beyond the veil of ordinary perception, are teeming with intelligence. Not intelligence as in cleverness, but as aware presence. Within these subtle fields, entities exist whose task is to monitor the movements of consciousness itself. Some esoteric schools teach that each soul carries a vibrational signature, a spiritual fingerprint. When the soul travels, it leaves traces. The sleep watchers are drawn to these traces. They don't watch everyone. They watch those who are on the brink of awakening, or those who have strayed too far from their path. They are not police. They are witnesses. And in witnessing, they awaken remembrance. Imagine a candle in a vast hall of mirrors. You see yourself reflected infinitely, but not all reflections are the same. Some are distorted, others eerily accurate. The sleep watchers are like these mirrors. They appear when the flame of inner awareness flickers in the darkness. They show you what is there, even if you're not ready to see it. This is why they often appear during sleep paralysis, lucid dreams, or the transitional moments before full awakening. These are spiritual open doors, moments when the self is porous. In these spaces, the watchers enter, not to harm, but to hold up a mirror. And here's something even more unsettling: they do not always come alone. There are tales, ancient and modern, of multiple presences, watching from different corners of the room. Esoteric interpretation suggests this may represent the fragmented self, each watcher a facet of the psyche or soul, reflecting different timelines, decisions, or unrealized potentials. This raises a profound idea. The sleep watchers may not be other at all. They may be you, watching yourself from beyond time. If the sleep watchers are mirrors, as we've discussed, then what exactly are they showing us? What lies behind their silent gaze? To answer this, we must travel deeper, not just into the symbolism of dreams or the structure of the psyche, but into the architecture of consciousness itself. Ancient spiritual traditions didn't view sleep as mere rest. It was seen as a sacred return. A return to source, to the astral worlds, to the blueprint realms where thought precedes form. In these spaces, what you think is. What you feel becomes. It is a realm of clarity, and also confrontation. The watchers appear here because it is here that we are most ourselves. Stripped of identity, roles, and logic, we navigate a space governed by vibration and intention. And in such a space, the very presence of a watcher alters everything. Mystics call this the witness principle, a truth found across the Upanishads, Zen Buddhism, Sufism, and Christian mysticism. It is the part of us that does not act, does not speak, but simply sees. The divine observer. In many traditions, awakening to this inner witness is the first step to enlightenment. And here's where the mystery deepens. What if the sleep watchers are externalized forms of the internal witness? What if they arise not as separate beings, but as autonomous echoes of our own higher awareness, stepping into form to catalyze our awakening? Let's take an example. A woman, plagued by nightmares of being stared at from her bedroom door, begins to journal these dreams. Over time, she notices patterns. These dreams always occur when she avoids important decisions. The presence at the door never enters, never speaks. It just watches. Eventually, she realizes the watcher is not there to scare her. It's there to nurture, to confront the part of her that hesitates to act, to change. This is the second key truth. The sleep watchers are catalysts. They come to stimulate growth through awareness. They do not interfere, but they challenge us simply by existing. Their silence is not absence. It is an invitation. But what about those who experience terror in their presence? The answer lies in resonance. Esoteric teachings hold that every entity, including the watchers, responds to the vibratory field of the person they appear to. If you are steeped in fear, unresolved trauma, or suppressed emotions, that energy acts as a beacon. The watcher appears not to punish, but to reflect. If your own soul is crying out, the watcher comes to hear it. This brings us to a more controversial interpretation, the karmic lens. Certain mystery schools, including some Hermetic and Rosicrucian orders, suggest that the sleep watchers are part of a metaphysical review system. Each night, as we sleep, we undergo a subtle accounting of our deeds, thoughts, and intentions. Not in a moralistic sense, but in an energetic one. Every unresolved thought form is like a ripple in the astral field. The watchers track these ripples. They don't judge, they witness. They record. This idea is echoed in ancient Egyptian belief as well. In the Hall of Ma'at, the soul's heart is weighed against the feather of truth. And in Tibetan Bardo Thodol, known in the West as the Tibetan Book of the Dead, it is said that, after death, beings appear to us in terrifying or peaceful forms, not because they are good or evil, but because of how we perceive ourselves. So here's the third truth: the watchers are not what they are. They are what you are, at your deepest, most unguarded level. Some may ask, are there malevolent watchers? Can we be harmed? The short answer, rarely. The watchers are not entities of violence or intrusion. But if you carry deep wounds, unresolved spiritual contracts, or ancestral karma, you may interpret their presence as threatening. Not because they threaten you, but because they illuminate what you haven't healed. And yes, in rare esoteric reports, some beings masquerade as watchers, parasitic entities that feed on fear. But even they, ultimately, serve as teachers. They expose vulnerabilities. They push us to fortify our inner temple. They sharpen the sword of discernment. In truth, the sleep watchers are not here to explain themselves. They appear to provoke the questioning. They are the riddle, not the answer. And in that riddle lies the spark of awakening. Mystical knowledge, however profound, is of little use unless it can be lived. The sleep watchers, enigmatic as they are not meant to remain as abstract symbols. Their appearance, whether literal, symbolic, or psychological, is an invitation to engage, to look within, to shift, to awaken. So how do we respond when we sense them? How do we turn their silent presence into an opportunity for spiritual evolution? Cultivate the witness within. The first step is simple yet profound: practice inner witnessing. Just as the sleep watchers observe without judgment, so too must we learn to observe ourselves, our thoughts, feelings, and reactions. Try this. Before bed, sit quietly for 5-10 minutes. Breathe deeply and repeat the phrase, "I am the observer, not the thought. I am the flame, not the smoke." Allow thoughts to arise without engaging. Let them pass like clouds. This practice aligns your frequency with the vibration of the watchers, not from a place of fear, but awareness. You become a watcher of yourself. Dream journaling and nightly integration. The watchers often communicate through dreams or sleep paralysis-like states. The key is to record and decode. Keep a dream journal beside your bed. Upon waking, write down everything you remember, even a single image or feeling. Pay attention to repeated themes, especially those involving doors, thresholds, windows, shadows, or eyes watching you. Ask, what part of me is being revealed here? What am I avoiding? Over time, patterns will emerge. You will begin to see how your inner world calls out through symbolic forms. Create a sacred sleep space. Your bedroom is not just a place of rest, it is a spiritual portal. To invite clarity and safety in the presence of the sleep watchers, you must treat it as sacred ground. Energetic cleansing: burn sage, Palo Santo, or frankincense before bed. Use a Tibetan singing bowl or a bell to clear residual energy. Protective symbols: place a mirror facing away from the bed, a piece of obsidian under your pillow, or draw an ancient symbol, like the Eye of Horus or a bindrune, and keep it by your nightstand. Light a candle before sleep with the silent intention, "Only that which serves my highest self may enter this space." This is not superstition. It's vibration management. Lucid dream practices. Many encounters with sleep watchers occur in lucid or pre-lucid states. Rather than fearing them, use lucidity to engage with them consciously. Practice reality checks during the day, e.g., asking, "Am I dreaming?" and trying to push your finger through your palm. As lucidity increases, prepare yourself to ask the watcher a question. It can be as simple as, "What do you want me to see? What truth am I avoiding?" If the presence responds, or even if it doesn't, you are initiating a dialogue. The moment you face them with courage, their power transforms. Integrate through ritual. The experience of being watched can feel invasive. But when honored, it becomes sacred. Create a ritual of nightly review. Before sleep, recall your day and mentally note any moments of inauthenticity, avoidance, or emotional spikes. Say silently, "I acknowledge these moments. I accept what I saw. I am willing to grow." This act mirrors what the watchers do, and by participating in your own witnessing, you lessen the need for external reflection. Common obstacles and how to overcome them. Fear. Remember, fear distorts perception. When you feel fear, breathe deeply, anchor into your body, and declare, "I stand in light. I am sovereign in this space." Sleep paralysis. If you experience paralysis, avoid struggling. Relax your breath, focus on wiggling your toes, and silently observe. The paralysis often fades, and lucidity increases. Doubt. The rational mind will question these ideas. Let it. But let experience speak louder. Practice first, understand later. In time, you'll begin to see that the watchers were never out there. They are thresholds, masks worn by the deeper self, guiding you toward wholeness. Each appearance is a sacred checkpoint, a whisper that says, "You're on the edge of remembering who you are." There are truths that cannot be spoken, only remembered. And the sleep watchers are among those truths. They are not monsters lurking in darkness, nor angels with golden wings. They are something far more intimate and far more transformative. They are reflections of your soul's silent yearning, messengers of a deeper consciousness, fragments of memory wrapped in shadow. They come when the world is quiet because it is only in stillness that we can hear the voice beneath the noise. They appear when the body is at rest because the soul, untethered, begins to stir. They watch, not to judge, but to witness. Not to frighten, but to remind you, you are more than you believe. You are being watched because you are waking up. Across ancient temples and modern bedrooms, across dreams and dimensions, the watchers appear with purpose. Their presence is an initiation. A rite. A mirror held up to the parts of us we forget to look at in the daylight. So the next time you feel that presence in the room, the eyes that are not there, the weight of something unseen, pause. Breathe. Ask, what am I being shown? And then listen, not with your ears, but with the part of you that dreams. The journey doesn't end here. The watchers are not a destination, but a doorway. And beyond it lies a vast expanse of self-knowledge, of dream mastery, and of spiritual sovereignty. Dare to step through. If this video awakened something within you, if you've encountered the watchers, or are now beginning to sense their presence, share your story in the comments below. Every reflection deepens the mystery. Every voice adds to the wisdom. And if you found resonance in these words, like, share, and subscribe. Because the more we illuminate the unseen, the more we remember who we truly are. Until next time, stay curious. Stay conscious. And remember, someone is always watching.